There's something strange yet captivating about Jerome, Arizona. From a distance, the town looks like it's clinging to the side of a mountain. Old houses stacked above narrow roads, some tilted, some seeming to defy gravity. In the early 20th century, it became a haven for copper miners and adventurers chasing dreams of getting rich quickly. Noisy bars, laughter-filled brothels, and steep roads between the hills were all covered in mining dust. Jerome lived hard, but with passion. Then it all stopped. When the last mine shut down in 1953, the town's life faded with it. Thousands of people left, abandoning homes and buildings that slowly cracked and crumbled with time. But here's the strange part. How did this tiny, nearly collapsed town end up attracting over 1 million visitors each year? What makes people willing to climb steep hills just to see a place that once lay dead? Jerome sits on the back of Mingus Mountain, about 5,200 feet above sea level, overlooking the wide and arid Verde Valley. The town was born in 1883 when fortune seekers arrived with shovels and hope, only to discover something more valuable than gold: copper. That's where it all began. The United Verde Copper Company mine became the lifeblood of Jerome. At its peak in the early 1900s, the town exploded into Arizona's largest mining hub. Just imagine, over 15,000 people lived on those narrow mountain slopes. Miners, bar workers, and their families. Back then, Jerome even earned the nickname the Wickedest Town in the West for its wild, sleepless nightlife. But like every mining story, the glory days didn't last. After World War II, copper prices dropped sharply, and the mountain's reserves began to run dry. One by one, companies pulled out, until in 1953, the last mine officially shut down. In an instant, the once bustling town became a ghost town. Homes were abandoned, shops closed, and streets were slowly swallowed by dust. From thousands of residents, only a few dozen chose to stay behind in the silence. During the 1960s and 1970s, a wave of artists, writers, and wanderers began to arrive in the town. At that time, property in Jerome was almost worthless. Many buildings were empty, damaged, or leaning, but to them, all of that had charm. Amid cracked walls and dusty windows, they saw a space for creativity. Old houses became art studios, former mine warehouses turned into galleries, and abandoned bars were transformed into hangouts filled with music and conversation. Jerome shifted from a dead town into a giant canvas for anyone bold enough to experiment. In 1953, the remaining residents formed the Jerome Historical Society, a kind of shield to protect whatever could still be saved. Then, in 1965, came a major milestone. The Douglas Mansion, a grand home once owned by the family that managed the mines, was converted into a museum. Today, it's known as Jerome State Historic Park, complete with underground mine maps, mineral collections, and artifacts that reflect how tough life once was. 2 years later, official recognition followed. In 1967, Jerome was added to the National Historic Landmark District list. That meant the town wasn't just a relic, it was a vital piece of America's mining history, worth preserving. After that, the crowds began to return, but this time, they weren't miners. They were tourists and art lovers. art galleries popped up all along Main Street. One of the most well-known, the Jerome Artists Cooperative Gallery, became a hub for local artists to showcase their work. Paintings, jewelry, sculptures, and handmade crafts. Elsewhere in town, antique shops and small boutiques began to thrive, offering unique items full of nostalgic charm. Now, every weekend, Jerome pulses with the footsteps of visitors. Events like the First Saturday Art and Wine Walks draw people from all over, coming to enjoy art, music, and a glass of wine against a backdrop of stunning hills. Jerome is no longer just a ghost town. It's a city reborn, social and economic life. From a tough mining town to a gentle hub of the arts, Jerome now stands in its third phase, a quiet yet vibrant chapter. As of 2025, the town's population is only about 458 people. It's a small number, but that's exactly what makes the community feel so close-knit. Most residents are over the age of 50. They're artists, gallery owners, craftsmen, cafe operators, and small innkeepers. Here, almost everyone knows each other, and life moves at a peaceful rhythm. There's no hustle and bustle, no neon lights, just a warm, calming atmosphere nestled high on Mingus Mountain. Today, Jerome's economy leans on creativity and tourism. Art is the heart of the town. But beyond that, food and small-scale lodging also play a big role. Many old houses have been turned into bed and breakfasts or antique shops, while local restaurants and cafes serve as gathering spots for both locals and visitors. Still, life in a town like Jerome comes with its fragility. Nearly the entire economy depends on tourism. In summer, the town can draw over 1 million visitors who come to enjoy the views, the history, and the local art. But when winter arrives, the streets quiet down, shops close earlier, and the town seems to fall back into a light slumber. This fluctuation means many businesses must adapt wisely, often saving during the busy months to make it through the slower ones. Now that we've talked about daily life and the economy in Jerome, let's dive into the heart of what makes this town so special. What exactly keeps this ghost town alive and draws in thousands of visitors every year? Modern-day Jerome is a unique mix of dark mining history and vibrant artistic charm. At the center of town, the Jerome State Historic Park and Mine Museum serve as the gateway to its past. Visitors can check out old mining tools, photographs of workers from the early 1900s, and remnants of the homes once lived in by miners. If you're into the mysterious, there are ghost tours that take people around to old hotels like the Jerome Grand Hotel, where, they say, some longtime guests still haven't checked out. But Jerome isn't just about ghosts. Every year, the town comes alive again through events like the Jerome Art Walk and the Jerome Music Festival, which bring together artists, musicians, and art lovers from all over Arizona. Small galleries line the mountainside streets, showcasing everything from paintings and ceramics to sculptures made from leftover mining materials, a living symbol of how this town rose from the ruins of its past. And let's not forget the landscape. From the top of Mingus Mountain, Jerome offers stunning views of the Verde Valley, especially at sunset. The winding roads leading into town are a favorite among motorcyclists and photographers alike. What's interesting is how all these elements, history, art, and a mystical vibe, blend together to shape Jerome's identity. The town feels like it stands between two worlds, a haunting past and a colorful present. That's why so many people say Jerome isn't just the largest ghost town in the USA. It's a ghost town with a soul, challenges, and realities. We've seen the beautiful side of Jerome, a vibrant arts town rising from the ruins of its mining past, full of galleries and ghost stories. But now it's time to look at the side that rarely gets talked about, the reality behind all that charm. Because behind every red brick wall and romantic-looking old window lies a serious struggle to keep this town standing. Jerome was built on the slope of Cleopatra Hill, which means the town quite literally sits on steep, fragile ground filled with abandoned mining tunnels. Infrastructure is a constant challenge. Just imagine water lines, plumbing, and electrical cables all have to wind their way up arrow-twisting paths, laid over foundations that are more than 100 years old. Sometimes, a single heavy rain can crack a retaining wall or make part of a road collapse. Residents and city workers are constantly fixing things while trying not to ruin the town's historic look. It's a never-ending job. Nature doesn't make it any easier. Landslides, erosion, and shifting soil are yearly risks, especially since parts of the hillside were once weakened by mining. In winter, snow can worsen ground cracks, and in rainy seasons, water runoff can eat away at roads, sometimes bringing down large rocks with it. But the biggest challenge isn't just nature, it's the tension between preserving history and keeping up with modern needs. Jerome wants to look like a mining town from the early 1900s, but at the same time, people need modern essentials, clean water, proper sewage systems, and roads that tour buses can safely use. Every new development sparks long debates, because even the smallest change can be seen as damaging the town's historical value. And at the center of all this tension is one major pressure point: tourism. More than 1 million tourists visit Jerome each year, an enormous number for a town of just around 450 people. On one hand, it's the main source of income. But on the other, imagine how crowded those narrow hillside streets get on weekends. Locals often compete for parking, while small shops get overwhelmed by the flood of visitors. What makes things trickier is that Jerome has no space to grow. It's boxed in by cliffs and valleys. There's no room to build large hotels or extra parking lots without sacrificing the town's authenticity. So everything has to be balanced, preserving history, pleasing tourists, and still leaving space for locals to live comfortably. Today, Jerome is a story of survival. A town that once died, then rose again through art, is now facing the harsh demands of the modern world. Behind all the beauty and ghostly legends, Jerome remains fragile, and yet that's part of its magic. A small, stubborn town that refuses to die, even when nature and time seem to be working against it.